So Chris, you just got done doing 5 hours. I know we just had another one, but
6.
It was 6, yes. What was your biggest takeaway from this event?
Okay, my biggest takeaway from the event was something I actually learned, and so I'll tell you a story. So when you're teaching, you always kind of look for people in the audience that like you can tell are shaking their head and they're smiling and they're engaging, and then you know like you're doing a good job, right? There was this one girl in the front. She was in the front row, like middle, and so she was like directly in my line of sight, and she was gorgeous. She was about 23 years old, beautiful, beautiful girl, long flowy hair, gorgeous eyes. But she was sitting there literally like this for the first 2 hours, and I was like, you can't help but like when you're teaching and you're saying, okay, now grab your pen and write down, you know, what your GCI you want it to be, and she didn't do anything. So finally I'm like, hey, write it down. You're not gonna learn anything if you didn't write it down. And she kind of looked at me and sort of pretended like she found a pen, right? And so, but she still was kind of being a little bit hard. And so I made an assumption, and I kind of made a judgment, which is not good to do, right? But I did. And I thought, man, that girl's not very nice. Like she's like, I go to the bathroom with Chrissy. I go, Chrissy, you see that girl? And she goes, I see her. She's like, oh my God. I'm like, you know, I want to tell her.
Their kindness.
Like, yeah, Chrissy goes, kill her with kindness. I'm like, you're right. I'm like, oh my gosh. But so I did. So break happened, and she came over and she kind of started petting with my dog Stormy. So Stormy can break anyone's heart. And she said, oh, I love your dog. I go, oh, your dress is so pretty. And she goes, oh, thanks. My mom has a boutique in town. I go, really? Give me the address. I'm going to actually go and buy it, which we did, but they didn't have the dress, so I got this one instead. As the day went on, like I was thinking about it, and she's a newer agent, right? She's young. She's in this room with all the other top producing agents. She was there with another top producing agent who she works for and partially with, and I bet you she probably felt a little intimidated. She probably felt like a little out of place. Like, I can only imagine how she felt, and that is what she was putting off. She was putting off the vibe of, I don't feel good enough, I don't feel worthy to be here, I don't know all this, there's so much she's talking about I don't understand, and these people have all sold so much more than me, and that's what she was feeling. But the way so I actually told her who she works for. I said, your girl is so pretty and she's so smart and so nice, but if she would smile more and like try to be a little bit more outgoing, she would do so much better in real estate. He goes, Krista, she has the RBF, which is resting bitch face. And I go, she does have RBF. He's like, everyone knows it. I'm like, yeah, but what I would do if I were you is I would tell her like how her persona is coming off. Like, unless we have, we need to take extreme ownership of ourselves. We need to be really reliant and look at ourselves in the mirror and say, what can I do to improve? I'll give you a great example of this on my own behalf. I'm really good at trying to be the best person I can be, but when COVID first hit, my director of human resources and my marketing manager, right at COVID, I found out that they had a business together, and they were basically utilizing and creating their business for the past year, basically on my dime, right? Because you can't send somebody to a training class on how to do something and then expect that they're not going to be trying to learn for their own, their own company that they've built over that past year. And I had to look in the mirror and say, it's my fault that they left. They left because of me. I wasn't being the best manager. I must not have been giving them enough support. I must not have been showing them their appreciation. It's my fault they left. So I looked in the mirror and said, Krista, you need to be a better leader. And so my word for the year was refinement and leadership. So COVID was like 2 years ago in a month, exactly right now. And we have like, at that point, we were at a 6-week burn rate when they were working for me, okay? And now, we just made $6 million in revenue in the past 2 months. So we what is that, 100x? I mean, like we were at nothing. We were ready to go out a business. We were minus $40,000 a month, minus $100,000 a month at that time. But it was only because I was able to look at myself and say, how can I improve? So this young woman, if she could just understand how she's coming across and just try to be happier and try to make people feel more comfortable and try to smile a little bit more, right? Smiles go so long, so far. She would 10x her business, and she's already doing so good. And he says, everyone knows she's like that. Then I'm like, then you need to, let's help her. Let's tell her, you have so much potential. But sometimes perception is reality, right? So if somebody sees something and they perceive it, perception is reality. And I'm going to think because this girl is sitting there holding like this and has a scowl on her face, she doesn't like me, when in all reality, she's probably a little bit insecure or intimidated, but she should, and I need to know that, not making assumptions, right? Assumptions, ASS, and ass out of you and me is the first 5 words of assumption. And not do that, of course. I learned my lesson. Always kill them with kindness, which I did. And she came out of her shell. In fact, today I did an 1.5 hour training, which with the 5-hour one was yesterday with her. She came running up to me, gave me a hug, and said, Krista, you're wearing my mom's dress from her place. And I go, I am. I wanted to get your pink dress, but it was gone, you know?
Yeah.
And she's like, it looks beautiful, looks beautiful. I was thinking maybe she'll send me the dress, maybe Krista.
Yeah.
She was so sweet and cute. And you know what I learned? I learned you can never stop learning. I learned that you can never stop improving. You can never stop having self-evaluation of who you are and how you can be better. That's what I learned. And I learned, don't make assumptions, Krista. Don't be an asshole. And I also learned watching other people, like Gary Pickren put on a great event, and it was one of the best ones I've been to in a long time. The speakers were amazing, and so I liked sitting there learning, and I was like sit down, taking pictures. I got so many notes and pictures, and I, never stop learning. Thanks so much for watching my video. You can learn more about how to be a successful real estate professional by watching other videos that I have, and be sure to subscribe to my channel. And as always, make it a great home selling and buying day.